Hello everybody, it's Gemma here from madebygemacrafts.co.uk. Hope you all had a lovely Christmas and New Year. My first video tutorial of this year is this card here. I've chosen this because it's got some embossing on it, and also it's I've embossed some vellum, which can be a bit tricky sometimes because some vellum isn't as thick as normal cardstock, and it can crack and fall apart if you don't get the combination quite right when you're putting it through your big shot. So if I move this out of the way and bring in my big shot. Now, I have had my big shot for a couple of years before I become an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. So my one is obviously a different colour to the one that's available through Stampin' Up for starters, and also my platform is the extended multi-purpose platform, and on this one you've got different tabs on it to give you different thicknesses of base plate for whatever job you're doing with your big shot, whether you're die cutting or embossing. Just tell you about this embossing folder that we're using today. It is a new product from the Spring Summer catalogue, and it is called the Hexagon's Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder. Ooh, that is a bit of a mouthful. But it's a fantastic new embossing folder because you get a really lovely deep impression, and it gives you kind of like a 3D effect once you have embossed. You can see on the card here, like so. So now to emboss our vellum, I need to take up my first tab. So I've just got number 1 showing, and here's my piece of vellum that we're going to emboss. This measures 2.5 by 3.5 inches. As always, all the measurements that I use today will be on my blog, and I shall put a link to my blog in the description box below. So you just simply pop it inside, put the folder straight onto your base plate here, and then just use one of your cutting pads on top to form the sandwich, and then you just push it through through the big shot, and then bring it back. So, I mean, there shouldn't be too much resistance when you pass it through your big shot. You don't want it to be too tight going through the rollers. You don't want to force it, otherwise that's where you do run into problems with vellum especially. And there we go, we've got a lovely embossed piece of vellum here. So now we're just going to do the same with our piece of basic grey cardstock. Straight into your folder. So we pop that straight down onto our base plate, cutting plate on top, and roll it through the machine like so. Just going to bring it back again. There we go, and there we have our piece of basic grey cardstock embossed as well. So if I just put all this big shot out of the way now, I can show you how we put the rest of the card together. And we can do some stamping as well. Just going to take us down a little bit. So here's our pieces that we've embossed, and here's my card base. I've used some smoky slate for that, and it's just basically a half a sheet of A4 cardstock. The exact measurements are 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and I've just scored it straight down the middle at 4 1/8, and that's our card base there. The piece of designer series paper that I've used comes from the Serene Scenery paper stack, which is this one here. And sorry, I'll give you the measurement for this. This is cut at 3 5/8 by 2 5/8, like so. And then I just have a piece of scrap, very vanilla, to do our stamping on. So for our stamping today, I'm using some basic grey. I'm just going to grab my stamp. So the first stamp I'm using is the banner stamp. Just going to stamp that on there. And then on the inside of the banner, just going to use the word celebrate. Now to line this up, what I do is I pop it down where I want it to go on my banner. Then I grab my acrylic block, pick it up, then I can ink it up and then just line it back up and stamp it down like so. Now I'm just going to quickly cut this out for the front of our card. Like so. I'm just going to leave a little bit of a border around the outside. Not the greatest cutter, so bear with me for a moment while I just do this. Also, using quite a long banner like this, it's going to hide our glue dots to attach, that we're going to use to fix our vellum to the front of our card, because that's also another little thing about using vellum cardstock. Sometimes you can see the adhesive underneath, so this banner is great. You just give it a little shape like so, so we can hide our glue dots underneath. So there we go, we have all the bits and pieces for our card. So now we're just going to pop them together. Now I'm going to use some Tombow wet glue on the back of this, and I'm going to use plenty of glue as well, because it is quite deep, the impression. So you need to make sure you've got plenty of glue on there so it sticks firmly to the front of your card, like so. Then you need to just give that a good press down and hold that for a few seconds while the glue just dries a little bit. Give it a good press down, like so. And then for our piece of patterned paper here, I'm going to use some dimensionals to fix it to the front of our card. Here we go, one in the middle. So I'm just going to take the backs off these, and we're going to pop it on our card at a slight angle. And this is a very simple, quick to make card. So I'm just going to pop this on the front here, like so. And then I'm going to use some glue dots to fix the vellum to the front of our card. Unfortunately, my glue dots have been unwound by my very helpful 3-year-old. He likes to think he's helping. So I'm just going to pick a couple of these up and pop them in the middle of our piece of vellum. and then we can just offset this at another angle and push down carefully where our glue dots are, like so. Then we've got our banner here. I'm just going to use a couple of dimensionals on either end. Like so. And you can just pop that across the middle of your card, just like that, and there we go, we have our card made. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. All the measurements and everything will be on my blog, and I'll put that in the description box below. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.